Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started with our week 3 of the Eat for Freedom series. And I want to first stop and applaud those of you that are here live on this phone call. Week 1, tons of people. Week 2, still quite a few people. By week 3, it is not uncommon that less people see this as a priority to get on live. And we may have a few more joining us. I see Joan joining us now. So it is definitely a strong indicator to Allison and us of the faces that we see here. So congrats for showing up. Half this whole gig, you guys, is showing up. And showing up not just for training, but showing up for yourself every single day that you're going to do, showing up for your team. I just had this conversation with another leader. Things can get frustrating. People can get down. But when people show up, those are leaders. Hold on for a second. I'm going to mute everyone. Okay. So yeah, that is, I just want to remind you, whether you're a team of 1, which means it's yourself, or you have a couple people enrolled, you are leading. And so that is what people are watching for, is if they're going to go, what do they say? The speed of the leader is the pace of the pack. So it is so true that if I attend and I go, then I will have some people at a steady pace. Doesn't mean they're all going to run with me, but they're at a steady pace. So always keep that in mind. Your people are watching you, whether it's people that are just not enrolled yet and kind of looking at what you're doing, or it's your customers, or it's your family, or it's your kids. They are watching, and you'll start hearing it later as we go on. So just as a review, Week 1 and 2 were pretty intense, you guys. I will really recommend that you go back and listen to them again, and maybe again and again, because it's kind of these basic skills we have to get through our mind. And so week 1 was really the basics of how do we share with people. We have a tool of social media and people face-to-face. Those are like our biggest opportunities, right? And so we talked about how to do that on social media with your first post, and then how to follow up when someone asks you, utilizing that sponsor and upline. Do not, and remember, solo is a no-go. If you're trying to wing it, that is going to backfire on you if you don't know what you're doing yet and you just think you're going to try something, okay? And then utilizing that, and then also face-to-face, the things you can say, and then tie in your sponsor. And then week 2 is consistency. We don't just do it once. We show up every day, right? Even if you don't end up putting a post on social media, how you show up at the gym, at work, everywhere, your energy, which Allie will talk about later, is critical to your success throughout all of life. Remember, people are attracted to you. They like you. That's why they're going to take a listen, because you are positive. You are the type of person that they would want to work with. So I wanted to remind you, if you haven't listened to that podcast of the 10-4-1, make sure you listen to it. I had to listen to it twice. I had to write things down. It's very short. So whenever you're thinking, I don't know what to post or when, he tells you in the podcast. Then we have to make it our own, right? And tweak it a little bit. But he tells you as you're trying to get that groove of how often to post about isogenics, if it should be directly tied, if it should be about your other interests and stuff, okay? How many of you posted, you can just put a raise of hands, at least 3 days since we had our call last week? 3 out of the week. Tylene, I went to your page and saw that. Melissa, awesome, and Angie. Anyone more than 3? I was going to say, Tylene, I went to your page. I saw today. You did great. And she's, kind of new at sharing. So you could even look at her page, and she did a great job. I really thought you did a really great job. So just kind of scattering it, and sharing about your life. I think you clearly listened to the podcasts and stuff. So awesome. Just keep doing those things. And I want you guys to remember, every master was once a disaster. Can you tell yourself that every day? You're going to just have to go out and get messy, okay? And I look back at my posts and the things I may have blobbered all over someone early on, and I learned through it, and I grew through it, and I still grew my income and my business through the mess, Okay. So don't compare yourself to other people. And then I just wanted to remind you that if you do stay on at the end, because you do have more questions about anything that was covered in week 1 or week 2 or today, I do turn off the recording and just answer questions with Allison. So please, if you have them, write them down. If you want some insight on anything, we really do like to stay on and hear from you. Okay, so Allie is going to take over now, and she is going to talk about expanding your network, because we always still now have to find new people to talk to. I just went to a networking event today, a whole new pool of people that I don't even know, and I still need to grow. So if I need to now, we all need to. So go ahead, Allison. You're muted. Do you want me to unmute you? There.
Did I mute myself back again?
I think so. There you
go. Okay. I'm sorry, you guys. I really do want to, actually, I don't need to share my screen. Okay. But I want to make this a bit bigger so I can see more people. All right, y'all. So expanding our network. So this is a really important thing, because you're going to continually want more people to talk to. And I've heard from so many people, they say, well, I've talked to everybody I know, which is, Lori's going to talk to you a little bit about something called Teamsy. We don't really ever talk to everybody that we know. We think we do, but we're actually prejudging who we're going to talk to. And we just talk to the people that we think would maybe want to talk to us, but we'll get back to that later. You want to continually expand your network of people that you know. And you guys, it can be really fun. And I'm going to say this first. I'm going to share some ideas that might make some people a little bit uncomfortable. I'm going to talk about social media network. I'm going to talk about getting out into the community. And there may be some people on this call that are more introverted. I mean, I will tell you, it's probably a little bit easier for me because I'm extremely extroverted. And not everybody is. But I want to point out to you a couple things. Now, I know not everybody on this call has a dream or desire to have the business that Emily Vavra has built, right? That's okay. But she is a huge introvert. Right? She's a huge introvert, yet she did the things that she needed to do that were challenging to get to the level that she is. If we want something we've never had, we have to do something we've never done. And that includes being uncomfortable sometimes. But the more you put yourself into that situation, the more you learn to adapt and change and just show up really well for it. So I do want to go ahead and say that. And you just practice. So first things first, I'm going to start with social media. And I was going to share my screen because years ago, there was the way where you could do it, and it's gone. But I was just messing around with it, and I found a few things. So I don't need to share my screen for this, but of course, you can go through your friend suggestions. Facebook always looks at your interests and your connections, and it's going to give you friend suggestions. And you can look through there and see who works well with you. But the other things is you can go to any of your hometowns. So I'm from a small town called Oskaloosa. And so I just typed in Oskaloosa. And when you do a search for that, then across the top of your Facebook screen, you're going to have posts, people, events, groups. You go and you click on groups. And there I found Oskaloosa High School alumni, which was the original group that I found. And you can find people that maybe you've lost touch with, or other people that you don't know, but you have this in common. Same thing in the town you're living in right now. I went to Gilbert, Arizona, and I do this every once in a while. And you go and you find groups, and groups that interest you. You know, you want to have a genuine interest that you can show up and participate in that group. But as you get to know people in the group, and that does mean you have to comment sometimes, and that's kind of a hard thing for me because sometimes I kind of want to get the feel of the group before I get involved. But as you make comments, you'll start to build relationships and talk to people, and then you can send friend requests to those people. And that's how you're going to start getting to know people there. And I have met so many people through community groups. So those are a couple ways. I wish that they still had the different friend suggestions, but I just recommend going back through old communities that you've lived in, you know, high schools, colleges, and then search your interests and find groups for people that have your common interests, because they don't all have to be local. Of course, we'll find other people that are anywhere in the country and even across the globe and make relationships with them. So that's how you're going to do it on Facebook. If you're doing it on Instagram as well, you know, that's a little bit trickier, but you can still go and just search hashtags for something that you think the person that you're trying to reach to would be looking for. Hashtag weight loss, hashtag mom life, dad life, something like that. You find somebody that fits your, what we call an avatar, the person that you're trying to attract, the person that you know you can help, and you can find those, follow them. And then Lori's going to talk to you a little bit about something we call hug, hug, kiss, kiss. So we'll come back to that, and that's how you'll build that relationship. But now let's talk about getting out into the community. You guys, this part can be super fun, even for the introvert, because you can find ways that it's going to benefit you. And so it's a total win-win no matter what. Okay. So one of the things, and you can kind of tie this into with Facebook, but what are your interests? What do you like to do? This is really easy. I like to work out. So I have gone and joined different groups, different gyms, different workouts right here right now, Burn Boot Camp. It's kind of spreading across the country, but it's really big here in my area. And Burn Boot Camp is really about a tight community and an encouraging community for women. And so they go ahead and they already set up events. They set up Facebook groups. So it's just made it really easy for me to meet people. Every time you do something like that, by the way, in this industry, when you're joining something for health and wellness and you're in the health and wellness industry, you guys, even if you're on this call and you're like, again, I don't want to build a business, but I want my products for free, you still have benefits. And so I'm going to just tell you right now, I'm not a tax expert, so you want to talk to your accountant, but I do write off my gym memberships and any of my fitness or wellness memberships as a tax write-off because it relates to my industry and it's legit networking for me. So, find different community events and go to them. You can find them at Everbright. It's a great place to go to. You can go to your chapter, your community chapter of commerce, and look for, like Lori said, networking events. And they don't all have to be expensive. Meetup.org, I don't use, is it meetup.org or meetup.com? What is it? I think it's meetup.org. I used to use meetups a lot when we moved to California, and I found a great networking event for women there, and I met meetups, and I met amazing people there, some who joined my team and some who are just lifetime friendships. Join a bunco group, my husband, like if he were building the business, he's in a racing group. So just really take time to get involved in what your interests are, things that we put off all the time as adults because we're like, well, we work and we have a family. I wish I still had time for these things that I love. You do. Make time for those things that you love, and you're going to meet people that are going to be attracted to what you have to offer and how you can help them. So I felt like I had a lot more to say about all that stuff. I hope that makes sense. Now I'm going to talk about when you meet somebody, how do you connect them? How do you keep in contact with them? And this can be where we can make it awkward because we overthink it and we get our head, but you guys, it's also just really simple. When you're talking with somebody, you meet someone, pay them a compliment, get into just a real genuine conversation with them, but everybody loves to be complimented. Ask them about their interests, ask them what they're doing there, ask them how long they've been coming, just ask questions and be really curious about who they are. They're probably going to reciprocate with you. Yes, find common ground. They're probably going to reciprocate with you, and then you'll feel that genuine connection, and you can say, hey, you know what? I'd really love to keep in contact with you. Are you on Facebook? Are you on social media? And if they're not, they'll just say, I'll say, no problem. Can I get your text number? Let's get together for coffee or lunch sometime. And just leave it at that. You don't even have to bring up Isogenics. You just want to have their contact information so you can continue to build a relationship. If they don't end up using your nutrition, you still have a really great friend. You still have a new contact that is going to bring value to your life in some way. And you never know when things are going to change for them. So, gosh, I felt like I had so much, but am I missing something? Sorry, I'm so distracted by.
No, it was a lot. It doesn't seem like a lot to you because you know it all. But it was a lot. And I just was going to add that I know that it seems like, yeah, right. Like I'm going to end up with a stranger on my team. I used to think that, you guys, even coming from a whole nother company, and I have people I've met on airplanes. It doesn't happen overnight, but when I stay connected, I met on airplanes, in airports, Yes, in coffee shops, just because I take the time. And airplanes and airports are great because you have more time, to get to know them and ask more questions, and develop a little bit of a connection. But
I've enrolled like 3 people from flights.
Mm-hmm.
And still on Facebook friends with other people that haven't enrolled, and that's fine. We get together and have drinks.
Absolutely. And sometimes you guys, Allie will talk about this, but I have to catch myself. Am I on? Am I on? Is what I have to ask myself. Am I ready to be face to face and have good energy towards other people? And sometimes you're running in the store and you're running out, but just try and think that person could be right in front of you. And I guarantee they're all walking right by us like this. We just have to be more aware. Since I became more intentional and aware, I am amazed at how many great connections I've made out and about.
Yeah. I went to another example is when I was just talking about Burn Boot Camp, and they make it easy by putting together events. They put together a bunco event. I love bunco. And I actually haven't been able to meet that many people during a workout because we're all sweating and most people have kids. They run off to get their kids and I'm leaving. So I went to that and it was amazing. And I had so much fun. And so then the next day I went back to that event and I looked at the people who went and the faces that I know that I really connected with while we were playing. And I sent them each a friend request. And I just said, oh my gosh, I had so much fun meeting you Saturday night. I feel like we should probably be friends, and with a little laugh. And they all, said, oh my gosh, you were fun too. We really should. I had some persons like, I can tell that you have a story. I just love your energy. I really want to get to know you more. Boom. She went up on my list.
Yeah, exactly. Those are your people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can kind of gauge people's energy. So thank you. And then do you guys all understand again what she's saying when she says your suggestions? Do you guys all see those come through Facebook? In the big boxes?
I can use since I'm on my phone, I can't share my screen, but I can switch it around the other way.
Well, most of them said yes.
Okay. I can only see 3 people.
Because sometimes you don't pay attention to them. And I found a ton of people just that way that I actually did know. Now I don't see as many that I know unless they're already in Isogenics. But if I have lots of mutual friends, I will friend them and then take time to kind of learn about them.
And the cool thing, not to just keep adding onto this because I feel like we've covered it, but when you start doing that, it's going to come up with more people in that same realm. So like when I decided I needed to, this was like 3 years ago when I said, I really need to find more people, and they made it easier. You could like filter who you're looking for. But anyway, I went to Oskaloosa or Jefferson County, Kansas. And now I keep getting more and more and more people from my hometown county. And every week I just go through there and I'm like, is this somebody I'd like to connect with? And it's just going to keep giving you more. And you just set aside a little time to look at them. And here's the thing, you get to choose, which is cool.
Mm-hmm. And she covered this, but literally think of the homecoming queen at your school. Like people like that were friends with a lot of people that you would know. Then I went to suggestions on theirs and I went through, and that's where I found a whole bunch of people that I totally knew from high school, college, whatever it happened to be. And I know that many of you may think that you've gone through them all. You haven't. What is that feedback? Are you guys all getting that too? But you haven't, and I was amazed. So do that. Write down now, your homework is going to be to make 5 to 10 new friend requests a day. Okay? 5 to 10 a day. All you have to do is send the request. And I will tell you early on, I'm not making as many friends that I like literally know from forever ago. But when I would make a friend request and I was consistent with Isogenics, with my social media, branding myself, it wasn't uncommon that within a couple of weeks of me sending them a friend request and us being friends, them reaching out and asking me what I was doing. It was not uncommon, but it was consistent. Okay. Okay. So
wait, one more. Oops.
Yeah.
Oh, there I'm back. Don't forget places where you do business. So a lot of times we're so busy in our life, we're just running in and running out, or maybe we're on our phone. Women, you go in for a pedicure, you go in for your hair, you're just on your phone the whole time. Get in conversation with the person who's providing you service. Or I've made contacts sitting in a pedicure chair talking to the other women next to me that I didn't even know. So think about where you do business. One person told me, like, any place where you're doing business, they should be doing business with you too. And I have enrolled 2 of my hairstylists, 2 of my estheticians. So I do. I mean, not immediately. I don't go in and just vomit all over them about my business, but I get to know them. I listen to their needs. I ask them questions. And when I find a place where I can help, they know that they can come to me for help. So, okay, now I'm really done.
Well, and when you connect on social media, they can get to know what you do better. All you have to do is be a friend. You don't have to tell them about Isogenics right then if it doesn't fit.
Exactly.
When they get on social media with you.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about follow-up. How many people have heard the quote, "The fortune is in the follow-up"? Anyone? That's one to write down, okay? So that's why we had you making a list from the very beginning. It is so important. As I got going in this business, I'm admittedly had lost ground with my list. Okay, people contact me in the grocery store, I'm messaging them back. Next thing you know, what? Who did I contact last week? Who reached out to me? Who did I reach out to? So make a list, and Allie's columns work really great for now. That will work great for you. But here's the thing, you guys, 80% of sales and closures take place after at least 5 to 8 follow-ups. 2% happen on the first exposure. And this isn't just Isogenics, this is overall, okay? Like, isn't that, no one remembers statistics, so we'll have to tell stories. But that I do always, I mean, just lower your expectations and meet people where they're at when you're introducing this to them. And do I have people enroll in the first exposure? Yes, but most of those people have high trust with me. I know them pretty darn well, okay? So to go further, 44% of people give up after 1 no. And 22% give up after 2 no's. 14 give up after 3 no's. 12% give up after 4 no's. So people start giving up more and more that have lasted, right? And that tells you that 92% of people give up after 4 no's, and only 8% of people ask for the order after a 5th time. So when you consider that 80% of prospects say no 4 times before they say yes, the interference is that 8% of people are getting 80% of the business. 8% are getting 80% of the business because they're the only ones who last all the way through 4, 5, 6, 7 to 8 no's. Does that make sense? Is that why sometimes we're like, how do they do it? How do they do it? People don't tell them no. No, people are telling them no. They just aren't giving up. Now, usually no is just no, not right now. If they're like, no, I would never do this, never contact me again, they're off your list. But no one hardly says that, you guys. Hardly ever. So follow-up is huge. Now, how do I follow up, right? So one thing that I've been taught from some of our top leaders that I think is great. So if someone reaches out to you, or you reach out to them, or you have a call or whatever, reach out to, if it goes crickets, you know, we're talking about people are just not responding. Follow up in 2 days after they may have requested information, or you gave them information, or had a call. And then if they don't respond after that, or even if they do, if they're not ready, then in 2 weeks, and then 2 months. So it's just the number 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. And then after that, I would keep them on a 2-month rotation. Okay. And so in those follow-ups, it does not, like the one after 2 days might be like, hey, just touching base again. Did you have a chance to watch the video, or whatever? Maybe you're supposed to follow up after your call because they were going to think about it, whatever. But then after that, most of your contacts should just be value adds. Okay. So, hey, I was just thinking about you again. It's been a while since we connected. Just want to, I hope your day is going great. You don't need to talk about Isogenics, because guess what? Are they thinking about Isogenics the minute a message comes in from you? If you already told them about it? It doesn't always need to be about Isogenics. Most of the time it shouldn't. But the more you're interacting with them and following up with them, the more your stuff's going to show up for them on social media. Okay? So be a good friend is what I would say. Okay? Don't ditch them because they maybe weren't ready for Isogenics. Value the relationship. Okay. I can't stress that enough. It's really about making a lot of friends, like Allison talked about, and being a good friend. And I mean, I have so many Facebook friends. No, you can't. I mean, it's not like you can have consistent, constant relationships with all of them, but the ones that you're engaging with, don't forget about them. I have so many people. I know sometimes people say, I don't want to be that person bugging them. I'm like, do you know that my enrollments that come through after lots of follow-up, do you know what they say to me? Thank you for not giving up on me. And Allison, we were talking about this before. I don't even know how many interactions we had before she said yes, but I do know it was like a year to 18. A year?
It was 18 months. I told you no for 18 months.
For 18 months. Okay. I mean, I won't forget one day she flat out said, I have now totally decided I'm not going to do this. She did say that. So it's crazy, right? Timing is everything. You guys, people's lives change all the time. Different information is going out. Different things you share will grab them at different times. Okay. But someone else was saying this, too many people work with the same 10 or 20 people and just don't move on. That is the problem. The reason that more enrollments come through is because you're working with different people all the time. And then when their timing is right, it all starts coming through. So when you've had lots of conversations, like, I don't know, I don't even know how many I've had. It's in the 3,000s, I'm sure, of conversations I've had with people. But if it's been like, I need to go back, we're going to talk about a follow-up method. Like, there's people I had conversations with 3 years ago that I lost track and they just fell through the cracks and I haven't followed up with. I'd have a lot more enrollments, right? So I am working now to stay intact with all of my contacts. So the other ways that you can follow up, aside from you directly messaging them, posting in HHP, our Healthy Happy People page. Because don't forget, if your people aren't ready, you put them in HHP. You should be, okay? Because that is like our store. They can get dripped on. And every time you post in there, they get a notification. Lori Olson just posted in HHP. And they're not going to tell you they're seeing them all, but when you enroll them, you find out they've been watching for a long time. Or when I follow up, they'll say, Lori, thanks for reaching out. No, I'm just not ready, but I am watching. I'm watching all the stuff. And when my time is right, I will. I'm like, okay, glad to know you're connected, you know? And so I'm not going to post that much stuff on my timeline all day, right? So we already know they're interested. So we're not like vomiting on them. So now we're putting them in our store. So if I never post in my store, it's like I'm the owner or manager of a store and I dropped them off in there and then I never showed up. So show up in HHP. And if you're wondering, remember HHP, you can just have anything with your experience on a product. It can just be, you can GTS, Google that stuff, and you can find things that you can put in HHP. We have isaproduct.com, isagenixhealth.net. You can go to the Isagenix page and look for things, all kinds of things that you can put in HHP. And you don't have to put tons, just try and put a few things in a week, okay?
You know, you guys, I've also gone just to, well, like she said, Google or to Pinterest and searched Isagenix and come up with some really great images. Make sure they're current, but really great images where this is the place where it's really interesting because what we're always trying to tell people is don't post ads on your Facebook wall. Like, this is where people are going to get to know you, right? So don't be so product heavy, but you can be product heavy in HHP, and that's where you can find images like that. And yeah, makes that really easy.
Yeah, that's the place to put that kind of stuff. Okay. Awesome. So the other way you can follow up is just like I said, be a good friend. What do good friends do? They comment and love and like on their posts, right? So we call it the hug, hug, kiss, kiss. If someone tells me, let's just say it's Shannon, Allison, whatever. Those are two people, I guess the only two people, and Lori Webb that I see on this call that I personally enrolled, okay? And so I personally enrolled these three. Do you know how? I wanted them. They're like dream team members to me, okay? So we have these hot lists. People on my hot list get my love and my attention. And like I would intentionally at least once a week go to their timeline and love on something and give them a totally thoughtful comment. Does that feel amazing when people do that on your posts? Go make people feel amazing by doing that, okay? That's a great way to follow up. The more you engage with them, the more they're going to come back and see your stuff, okay? So you got to kind of change it up like that. So speaking of our lists, I already had you guys, everyone who comes in, I'm like, give me 10 to 20 names, put them on a list of what I call it, instead of a hot list, your dream team, okay? These are people you would absolutely love to work with. You think they'd be an absolute asset to your team, to the company. They have a high value for health, whatever. Dream team members, okay? They'd be a great leader. That's your hot list. And the people you're closest to. You care about them a lot, okay? That is your hot list. Now, you got to have a bigger list than that, right? We know a ton of more people than the hot list. So you should also have, this is new to me, this concept. I like it though. I've heard it twice now and I'm doing it. So you have a hot list. I just explained what that is. Then you have a warm list. Your warm list are people that you know, you like, they're acquaintances, pretty strong acquaintances, but not as tight of relationships. Does that make sense? Good people, you like them, warm leads, okay? And those people, you need to culture the relationship a little bit more before you talk about isogenics. Does that make sense? You need to try to get back in touch with them a little bit more. Get on their timeline. So pick a few of those, and then you slowly start moving those warm ones. What do they start becoming? Anyone know? After we start cultivating those relationships, they become hot, right? So you start moving those people over to your hot list. Well, then we also have a cold list. Cold list, how many people have friends on Facebook? You're like, wait, let me think about how I know this person. That's a cold lead, okay? Or someone that I just met at the grocery store today, like what Allison was talking about, the people she just met at Bunko, okay? So while she had a good relationship, there's still kind of a cold lead because she has no history with them before. So they're cold, but she's going to keep working on that relationship so she can start moving them to warm and then later to hot if they apply, if there's someone she wants to work with. And so you're always adding people to your cold list by the people you meet out and about or new contacts you make on social media and work with those lists. So your hot list always remains kind of maybe 20 people-ish. And then as you're enrolling them, you're moving people over that way. Does that make sense? I heard that again, second time at UIA, and I think that is so smart. Okay. So one thing I'm going to share with you, because this kind of seems, in my opinion, I have had failure in keeping lists, you know, and stuff. So many of you who are on my regular team calls already know about a tool called Team Z. If you've never heard of it, write it down right now. Team Z, TEAMZY. And you just go to teamz.com. And what it is an electronic CRM, which is like a software program that you can upload any enrollments, if you already have some enrollments, to culture your relationships with your team members and your customers, and all of your social media contacts. And then what it does is you go through, you can either do it all at once or you can do it as you touch base with people and you rate them from 1 to 5. 1 is someone you'd never want to really work with. 2 is more of a cold lead. 3 to 4 is warm, and 5 is hot. So it does it for you, and that's how they will come up. Each day you'll have like a list of names, and they'll come up according to how you've rated to them, as in how often you'd follow up and connect with them. And they have script ideas and everything like that. It is phenomenal. If I would have had this tool since I started, I would hope to God, you know, things would be even in a different place. And Allison has started using it and she loves it. And we've literally only been using it for like a week. And we are just like full on. Here's the greatest part. There's a free 30-day trial. And so you can sign up for the free 30-day trial. You don't even have to put a credit card in. And then if you love it, it is a whopping $30 a month. Okay. $30 a month. And if that still seems like a lot to you because you're not making any money right now, I want to remind you that you have no overhead in this business. We have to invest something in order to grow, okay? We have to invest time and invest money. Most businesses, you guys, that you'd have to grow, you'd put 80% capital and be lucky to get 20% profit. It's the opposite, okay?
I want to add just a little bit more value to that too. Here's what it's done for me. Sometimes I feel like I've always thought sometimes when I'm just reaching out to colder contacts, or even I feel like I follow up with the same people all the time. And that would sometimes get me down, to be very honest. And then when I was looking at the new people I wanted to contact, I spent way too long deciding, well, what am I going to say to them? This has made me so much more efficient because it decides who I'm going to talk to. I don't try to negotiate my way out of it. If I don't know what to say, it has a script. They're not cheesy. They're just normal. And I just copy, paste, tweak it a little bit. If I see something on their wall, I'll be like, by the way, that new haircut is super cute. I love it. And I'll just add in a compliment or some sort of comment, and then go. And I'm just like, boom, boom, boom. I've made my connections for the day. It keeps me in contact with people who are 0 on my team that I'm like, I don't know if I should really reach out to them. They might not want to talk to me. It's eliminated all my negative self-talk, all my overthinking. I'm so much more efficient with my time. And if you have any part of you inside you that's a gamer or that is competitive, it's like, I just love to see the 100% complete. And I'm like, yeah, I'm done. And like, I seriously am having fun with it. So it's great. It's great value.
The other thing is you can gauge it towards your income goal. So if your income goal is $20,000, then it's going to tell you this is what you need to do to make $20,000 is to reach out to this many people every day. If it's $100,000, it's going to be more. And it doesn't matter. It just matches your goal. So then you know your efforts are matching and you can literally get it done in an hour a day. If your goal is $20,000, you're going to get it done in 30 minutes, 20 minutes. I'm getting it done in an hour, maybe a little over a day if I'm really personalizing a lot of stuff. And then those people that we don't know very well, that's when it takes me a little bit longer because I have to go get on their page, kind of start digging around to figure out what I know about this person and reconnect. Okay. So you don't have to do it, but if you really want success here and you're starting to want to get organized, it's so super simple. Okay. And you wouldn't have like, you guys, I have so many notebooks and folders. It's pathetic. I at least now have a system I can show people. But I will say, don't do it unless you're committed to do it for 30 days or you're not going to see the value coming back to invest the $30 a month. I mean, it's no different. You still have to do the work. Okay, real quick, Allie is also going to go through just super quick our energy and getting help.
Okay, awesome. So kind of talked about this just a little bit already, but I just want to remind you guys, when you need help with anything, and some of you are doing it, it's awesome, reach out. Again, we know that if this is not something that you're used to doing, it's just going to take a little bit of time. But just like, you know, if you're an athlete and you're going to the gym, you're not going to have muscles because you walked in one day, right? You went in there and you fought against the resistance, literally 5 days a week until you got that bicep, right? Like you're doing the exact same thing. You're building a muscle. And so you don't even have to be good with your posts. You don't even have to be good at writing. You just need to be excited. You just need to be excited. So, and I think everybody is excited, but what we do is we get up in our head and we overthink it. And then when we start to overthink it, we start to think, well, I want to really make this seem professional, or, you know, and that's when we start to overthink, our brain leads and the heart is like, and then it doesn't even sound like us anymore. So just when you have something you want to share from your heart, share like you are talking to your friend, like let your heart lead your fingers rather than your brain. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but I love that some of you are reaching out for help. We love to help with that. Continue to do that. The more you do it, the more you're going to get used to it. And the same thing too, when you're out and about, just, I mean, even if you have to, before you get on a call to talk to somebody or text somebody or do anything, you got to turn on some music. I just went to this women's event and everything starts and ends with an epic dance party. Have an epic dance party and get your energy up, because it will show whether you're trying to communicate with people virtually or if you're in person or on the phone. Be excited, and it'll get other people excited around you too. They can't help it.
Change your mental state. If you're in a low, that's not when you're going to come up with your best stuff, right? And we were just at University in Action. I'm going to end this with that. And my husband was there, and he doesn't full out do isogenics like I do. He's my supporter pretty much. And he was there listening to like one of the Tyler Walter, he's 24, he's amazing. But he's like, literally, sometimes I have to like turn on music and start pounding on my chest before I do a call. And Seth, when we recited that back to me, he goes, that is great. I love that. I love that he does that because it is about our energy, our voice, our tone, and our mental state. So people are attracted to your energy, your positivity, your conviction, and that will grow as you grow as you keep practicing. Because I know some of you are unsure of yourself right now. Okay, that's okay too. But you are more certain than you realize, and then you give yourself credit for. You are certain that you love isogenics. You are certain that this path and this compensation plan and this freedom is something that you want. That's all people need to know, really. If they want all the other nuts and bolts, we have a tool. We always say, don't be a tool, use the tools. Okay. So we have tools to share with all of those things. And I just want to remind you that we all started a different place. If you start following Allie and you read some of her posts, they are amazing. And she's an incredible writer. And she didn't start out that way. Okay. So I just want to, and I didn't start where I was either. The thing about network marketing and isogenics specifically is that you grow into your leadership, you grow into your income, you grow into your wealth, you grow into it, and you will never, your business will never grow past the extent that you grow you. So you got to show up as your best self. So we are here at the right time. You have the right vehicle with isogenics. You just have to show up and become the best you. And I know that may seem like, what? I'm like, the skills will come next. It's really the personal growth and the personal development. So I always say it's a personal development journey with a paycheck attached. So here's what I want for you before we stop the recording, but stay on if you have questions. Your homework is to grow your network. I want you to make at least 5 friend requests a day, at least 5. Okay. Find new requests from the different methods that Allie gave, or if you have other ways or out and about. And then for the follow-up, start making those lists. If you are going to do Teamsy, let me know, because I can keep track of my team members so we can help you with any tips like that. Otherwise, make your different lists. And then you have to keep up on all the other things, consistency and all of those things. And then lastly, I have a podcast again for you guys to listen to, and it's David Wood. I just came back from a conference called University in Action. And this podcast is about, just so you're prepared, about 44 minutes long or 40 minutes long. And it is called Moving Out of Your Comfort Zone and New Opportunities. So I know that every time I ask people, what do you think is your biggest hurdle or roadblock? It's not actually usually time, or I don't know what to say, or what I don't know what to do. It's usually me, my mindset, my fears, voices in my head. Okay. And so isn't it kind of empowering to know that that's a constant thing that we hear, but that's really the only thing holding you back is within yourself. Okay. And myself included. So I'm going to share that podcast this week in the group, and I want you all to promise me you'll listen to it. It is going to help you with your mindset. I mean, it's just the tip of the iceberg. And sometimes there's things, when you find a good one, decide you want to listen to it over and over again. We have to hear things over and over again for them really to sink in. Okay. So that is all. I've written so many posts and deleted them. Jennifer, you should just share those posts with your sponsor if you're feeling unsure about them or something. And maybe they just put a little tweak in, or maybe it's freaking awesome and you just don't even realize it. I'm going to stop the recording.